you're talking about process a lot here, which I love, and there seems to okay. So if I was to give you a handful of just fresh, wide-eyed, not a lot of previous experience in golfing, but they're athletes and they're determined they're determined to get better at putting. What would be the process that you would put them through to become great putters? I mean, I know you've got your system, so maybe we can kind of maybe talk a little bit about how do you create a great.
So the reality is the first step in anything that you do, if you're going to work with me anyway, would be to define your foundational pieces. So if you're out there and you kind of know what you're trying to do, but not really, and you start putting and maybe you're having some bad putting rounds, what are you going to do? I mean, you got to like try a thing. Maybe I'll try cross-handed. Maybe I'll try claw. Maybe I'll open my stance. Maybe I'll move further from the ball, or maybe I'll get a different putter. When you're doing things like that with no long-term vision or plan, then you end up what I call being on the hamster wheel of things that never work. I'm always trying a new thing. It doesn't seem to quite work, or it works for a round and then it doesn't work next round, and then I'm trying a new thing again. And so what I do with any student is that we define the foundational pieces, doesn't matter if it's putting or in the bunker or whatever, and say, okay, when I do these 4 things or these 5 things or these 6 things, I'm a high performer. I am in control. I can repeat. The ball goes where I'm looking. So when I go poorly, I want to know, okay, which one of the 5 things didn't I do? Because I just said when I do them all, then I'm a high performer. And so this becomes playing a little bit more of the long game. It's like, okay, here are the foundations. I'm going to try to get 1% better on each day. This is how I'm going to go about that process. When I show up to the putting green in the morning, the first thing I'm going to do is this. It might be checking my setup, and everything's measured out, right? Okay, so I'm set up the same way today that I was yesterday. Okay, step 2 might be, you know, checking your aim and your ability to hit your start line, and there might be certain drills that would go along with that. And so you want to have a very systematic approach to uh, trying to get 1% better at the same stuff. And then once you confirm that that is the case, like, oh, I'm doing what I'm trying to do, then I think that's when you have to give into the athletic see and do, get lost in the task, reactive kind of mindset. But the structure and the systematic approach to getting better has to come first before you can turn that other part on. And I think a lot of people get it backwards. They just start off like, oh, maybe we'll just make 3-footers in a circle around the hole. Well, what happens if you're aiming right and you're hitting them all off the toe, but they're going in, and then all of a sudden you get out to 20 feet and those toe hits are robbing you of distance control, or so you just need to create certainty at the beginning so that when it comes time to actually play, you're not concerned about the mechanics, so to speak.
Is that certainty at the beginning, is that universal or is it individual? Like, are there 3 universal things that, like you mentioned, making sure that you can start it on the start line, making sure you're hitting the center of the face. Like, are there certain things that, like, listen, every single
Yeah.
putter, I don't care who you are,
I'm
these are
sure
things you need to
I'm
dial in.
sure yeah, I'm sure every coach has their preferences, right? And they would say, "Hey, this is the way we do it here." And I'm probably less cookie cutter than any coach I know. I mean, I'll let people grip it however they want to grip it. But there are some things that would be non-negotiable. Number one, for example, would be hit excuse me, returning the face to square at impact. Non-negotiable, because if the face is not pointing where you want it to go, the ball's not going there. So we got something we have to learn and develop, to repeat, to be able to do consistently. Another one, to some extent, would be the dynamic loft of the putter at impact. I mean, the ball needs to launch properly and start rolling. Excuse me, Ryan. Wow. And if let's say you have 3.5 degrees of loft on your putter and the shaft is leaning forward 4 degrees at impact and you're swinging down, that I don't care if the face is square or not, you're not going to putt well. So there are certain launch conditions of the golf ball. So I'd say the physics to some extent of the collision with the putter of the ball are non-negotiable, but the negotiables will be like, okay, if this is what we want to launch the ball straight with the proper height and spin and whatnot, okay, what are we going to do as an individual to make that happen? And that's where, if we had 5 people in the room and we developed that foundational list, all 5 people would have different things on the list. They wouldn't be the same. There would be some commonalities, but you might feel more comfortable feeling X, and this other player can execute better feeling Y. And that's one of the cool things about a coach is you sort through that, and some of this might be based on personality of the player. It might be based on their physical makeup, where they're mobile, where they're strong. And so you got to sort through all that stuff individually.